Welcome back to season 2 of the podcast, previously called Erotically Empowered. Now you will notice I have rebranded to Ali Gamolka Unfiltered, and there is a very good reason. You will understand as this episode and this season evolves. My own journey, my God, so much has happened. So much has happened since season 1, and I have evolved and stepped into another layer of my purpose and impact on this planet. Just even more since season 1, hence the branding. So those of you who followed me for some time will know, like, I've been a somatic self-pleasure practitioner for several years now, and that has been the core of my work, was helping women to awaken their pleasure and to feel their orgasm. And that will never not be a passion of mine, ever. But what I started to really feel into more in recent times of what I wanted to speak on was more the empowerment side of it. Still women awakening their pleasure, as I said, that will never not be a passion, but more under the umbrella of a woman not accepting less than what she truly deserves and came here for, right? And what I noticed I was very good at and have been great at over the years in talking with friends and clients was really igniting them to shake them up, to give them a friggin' loving shake up and remind them of who the fuck they are and what they came here for. And that includes, that's all areas: pleasure, intimacy, connection, love, abundance, all of it. And I started, as I peeled back another layer of my own self in recent times, I started to feel that this is where I really wanted to speak online. And I knew that season 2 of the podcast was going to be more of this, more fucking fire, to have you stepping into the highest version of yourself, to stop accepting breadcrumbs and bullshit from men, to stop accepting the men that don't meet you where you want to be met. Because here's the thing, I see a lot of women complaining about men online, and I get it. My God, you will see posts of mine talking about, the suppression from the patriarchy, and absolutely, we have spent centuries being oppressed and suppressed, and that absolutely, this is the shift that is happening. But at the same time, there are so many incredible men in this world, so many incredible men, and staying in victim mentality is only going to continue attracting the men who are not meeting you where you want, who give you emotional unavailability, who give you inconsistency, who give you breadcrumbs. I am all about women shedding the victim mentality, stepping into self-leadership to attract the levels of devotion from men that they first and foremost are willing to and do give themselves. Because you cannot, a big thing, and what I have spoken about since, this shift in my work, is women getting frustrated at toxic cycles and, essentially these men who, I feel like I need to put a pillow behind me, these men who keep giving them, what they don't want, what they don't desire. And they're frustrated that they're not calling in and attracting different men. You are not going to call in and attract different men until you shift internally. The world is a mirror for what you are aligned with. It's a mirror for what you're not facing within, your old conditioning, your programming. It is mirroring to you what you are willing to accept due to all of that. The men that come into your life are no different. You are attracting those men because that is what you are aligned with on some level. It may be that you were taught that you aren't worthy of love, or love is conditional. You have to be XYZ in order to, attract this. It may be that you were never modeled healthy relationship, deep connection. Whatever it is, that is not going to change until you change. And this is the shift from victim mentality of men are just shit, men treat me like crap, to hang on, where am I continuing to allow this? Because no one can come into my field and stay there unless I allow them. The victim mentality is saying that it's all on them. They are, they are toxic and they are doing the wrong thing, which very well, let me make this clear. You are not to blame for someone else's shitty behavior, but you are responsible for not allowing those cycles to repeat and allowing those men in, right? Victim mentality says that you don't have a choice. That's what victim mentality is. It is saying they need to change, they need to do better, and it's up to luck as to what sort of men I get. An empowered woman, a woman leading herself in her self-leadership energy, is a woman who knows she gets to fucking choose. It is a woman who chooses what she attracts, what she magnetizes, what she cultivates. And she doesn't fucking allow anyone who doesn't meet her at the level she already meets herself. And that last line is so important, because you cannot expect a man to give you devotion and treat you like a queen when you don't even treat yourself like a freaking queen. Like what, how can you expect that from someone else? You teach the world how to treat you. You teach men how to treat you. You cannot neglect yourself, be emotionally unavailable to yourself, be unavailable to regulate your own nervous system, never spend time devoted to your own freaking body and pleasure. I've spoken about this in many episodes before, and all of that, and expect a man to come in and give that to you and then get frustrated that he's not giving that to you. That's absolutely not fair. It's not fair on him, but it is not fair on you. Like, it is not fair on you that that's not what you want, but that is what you are aligning yourself with, right? You teach the world how to treat you. You teach others how to treat you. And it begins with leading yourself. If you are continuing to attract emotionally unavailable men, have a look. Where am I not meeting my own needs emotionally? You are probably, in this case, a woman who has an unregulated nervous system, who either shuts herself off from her emotions completely, or is not able to regulate herself. She's very, and that was me. My little light just switched off then. If you're watching this on YouTube, the light, does that still look okay? It's flat. I was wondering if it was going to be flat soon, and there we go. I was very much a woman who I didn't even know what that meant, regulating your own nervous system, right? I was, as a result, I struggled with many years throughout my life of severe depression. I had massive anger outbursts. It was, very unregulated, didn't know how to regulate my own nervous system. And if that is you, let me just tell you, it is not your fault that you don't know this. It is not your fault that you do not know this, but it is your responsibility to change. I mean, you don't have to change, but then, you can't really sit there and complain that you don't have what you want, can you? It's not your fault that anything was or wasn't taught to you. It is not your fault for how people have treated you. It is not your fault for any trauma or any hurt that men have caused you. It is your responsibility now to change the patterns in you that are allowing this to happen. because there is a part of you that has allowed this, and you have to understand that in order to break the cycle. That, me saying that, will often trigger people into telling me that I'm victim blaming. You know, when I've done videos on this on social media in the past, that you're blaming women, it's not women's fault for what men have done. Absolutely, it's not women's fault. But if you are saying that you don't have a choice to allow that or not, you're taking away your power. You're saying that it's just going to be up to fate in the future whether you attract a good man or not. You're saying that you're just going to move through life seeing what happens to you. And when you speak to a woman who has been in continuous cycles, toxic cycles, to whatever level, like I'm not, I'm talking even just toxic, like unavailable men or whatever. When that woman breaks the cycle, she will tell you that it is because she finally realized not just her worth, but that she had a choice. And that is what it is going to take. That is the shift from victim mentality to an empowered woman. And let me make this clear. An empowered woman is not a closed off woman. It is not a woman whose heart is closed and says, fuck men forever. I'm going to live alone with my cats. Absolutely. If you want to live alone with your cats, beautiful. That can be empowered. But that kind of energy, and I do see that online as well and on my posts, that is often a trauma response of women who have been hurt repeatedly, and their only way to guard themselves from that they know, is to shut themselves off, to close their heart. I don't need a man ever again, and I'm going to live with my cats. Again, there is absolutely nothing wrong with, I am in my single era and have been for, how many years now? Are we going on 3, 2, 3? I don't even know. And I am happy to be single for as long as I need in this phase of my life. This is the only time in my life that I have been single and head down, bum up in the inner work and doing this, being in complete devotion to myself. I have never, ever before lived this, right? Ever. So I am loving it, and I am so okay with being single for as long as it takes. But my heart is open. I am actually, I love love. I've experienced incredible love and intimacy and connection, and I know that my person will enter my field when that time is right. But my heart is not closed. My heart doesn't need to be closed, right? My heart does not need to be closed because I know I get to choose. And I know when I am in complete devotion to myself, no one is going to enter my field who doesn't match that devotion. So why do I need to have these walls up? Why do I need to have this guard up? I don't. I simply use discernment. I don't respond to male attention from an unregulated nervous system or trauma or triggers, because I've done the work and I do the work and I'm doing the work as it continues to unfold. You never stop doing the work, FYI. But I am able to notice red flags, number one. Red flags, I can sniff that shit out a mile away, in how a man holds himself, carries himself, how he interacts with me, whether that's the levels that I desire. I don't need to have a closed heart. I am open. I am open for, connections, and when that comes, I'm not actively seeking that whatsoever. But I am in such deep trust to myself and my body that I don't need to be in fear. I'm not closed off. I'm not, currently celibate out of fear or even as a rule. It's just, I just am. This is how it's happened. But empowerment, where did I even begin with this? Empowerment, the whole cats thing, the whole single cats thing, that again, nothing wrong with being single and living with your cats if that's what you choose. But when that's coming from, with a lot of women, from women who have been hurt from men and carrying this pain for the collective feminine for centuries of what has happened, that are you truly at peace inside? You know, and this can take some reflection. Is this truly coming from a place of peace, or is it from fear? From fear of being hurt again, from fear of opening up and being shown, you know, once again that you're vulnerable and, you know, or is it coming from an empowered place of, I fully trust myself, I fully choose myself, I am in full devotion to myself, and anything that doesn't meet that, you know, is not going to be into my field, come into my field. That's the difference. That's the difference between, you know, victim mode, which essentially when you are in fear, you're still in victim mode there. And this is no judgment, no shame, my God. Like this work and has evolved from my years with women and my years of my own journey, right? My own journey that, again, keeps evolving, and I catch myself. There was actually something that happened a few weeks ago. Nothing big, whatever, but it was an interaction with a male, nothing to do with a love interest or anything like that. But afterwards, I was annoyed at myself that I didn't respond in the way that when I reflected on it, I was like, I don't actually like what happened there, and I should have intervened and then moved away then. And it's beautiful that I'm able to reflect. Like I had to, you know, I was a bit annoyed at myself initially, like, what? I'm great at holding my boundaries now, rah, rah, rah. But because it was absolutely not an intentional thing on this male's behalf. And like I said, it was nothing bad, nothing whatever, but it was just on reflection, I would have handled it differently. And this is the growth. It's like I said, it's not about being perfect, but an empowered woman is able to go, okay, there was a part of me that just froze up, went into freeze mode then and stayed small because I didn't want to embarrass him. And that's okay. But I had an instant reflection afterwards where I was like, okay, what was it that made me think, you know, his need to not be embarrassed was my concern when something didn't feel right with me, you know? And it's just reflection. That's the empowered woman, and that is the work we are going to be talking a lot about. My God, if you are watching this and in any way, shape or form you have diminished your light, you have dulled your light, you have suppressed your light for a man, if in any way, shape or form you have or still are accepting breadcrumbs, tolerating emotional unavailability, inconsistency, tolerating and accepting the pleasure, the intimacy, the connection that does not meet you, my God, stick around. There's so much juiciness to come and fire in every episode. And know that just watching this, if you allow it and you're open to it, this, you know, transmission, if you want to get woo-woo, is igniting you. And, you know, this is what I intend with my words, but not just my words, this fire that I have felt from other women who speak, and that, you know, now I am so passionate about speaking to give this, to light your own fire. But welcome back, officially season 2, episode 1. You are a freaking queen. This is not about being cold, closed off. This is about stepping into your power, meaning you trust yourself, you trust your intuition, your feminine power, which is not about control over anyone else. It's about you honoring what is right for you, honoring your soul, honoring your innate feminine ancient wisdom, and staying aligned with that. I shall see you next time. I love you. Thank you for being here. Mwah.